concludes the section on reform. We move on now to the section on fairness. Joan Burton TD, Minister for Social Protection, proposing motion 9.
Chairman, delegates, I want to propose motion 9. The twin evils that have to be tackled if we are to create sustainable economic recovery and be able to afford a proper, decent system of social protection, the twin evils we have to deal with are unemployment and debt. We all of us see every day the distress, the dashed hopes and the hardship that they cause. That is why we are dealing as a government and as the Labour Party in government with unsustainable mortgage debt through legal reforms and a new advisory service that will strengthen the hand of householders in dealing with banks. Our system of bankruptcy legislation in this country can only be described as Dickensian. Under the Irish system, bankruptcy has a lifetime impact, as opposed to being a fair resolution between debtor and creditor that allows people to move on and rebuild their lives and careers. As Minister with responsibility for MABS, the Money Advice and Budgeting Service, I want to see the constructive engagement pioneered by MABS to help people deal with debt, but with the system expanded and updated to deal with our new reality of pervasive, destructive personal debt, particularly as it affects our most productive generation, the young people in their 30s, 40s, early 50s, who did the right thing when they settled down and started to have a family, built up a job, a career or a business, and bought a house, because that's what we do in Ireland when you commit to a family. And now they have been left saddled with extraordinary levels of debt. We do not want families to sink under the weight of debt and the worry of losing their homes. And that is why, when the Labour Party was in opposition, long before there was a public recognition of the level of the debt crisis and the banking crisis, Eamon Gilmore, as leader of the Labour Party, time after time on the floor of the Dáil, said there were two things Labour was concerned about: helping people to stay in work and keep jobs in Ireland, grow more jobs in Ireland and get people back to work, but also helping families to keep the roof over their head. For that reason alone, the Labour Party's participation in this government is absolutely important. Getting people back to work is not just about the kind of things we discussed in detail last night: pathways to work, community employment schemes, internships. It's also about investment in our country. I want to commend the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. I want to commend SIPTU for the work that they are doing to identify serious and careful ways of investing the pension funds of workers in our country in economic recovery and infrastructure. This is a critical issue, not just for Ireland, but for the European model of social democracy. In the fight to defeat the debt and banking crisis, we are defending core decencies of a civilised European way of life. Be very clear about that. Sometimes people talk about a race to the bottom, but solving the debt crisis is a race to recovery that we can't afford to lose as a society. I want to say, as Minister for Social Protection, we have actually concluded arrangements to enable annuities in relation to sovereign bonds to be issued under arrangements with the NTMA. And I'm confident that pension funds may well find an opportunity this year to invest up to $2 billion in such long-term investment structures which will be attractive to pension funds. Let me say this to you. If the Japanese and the Italians can invest their pension funds in their country, I want to say to you that we have to find a way of being able to do that safely and securely over the very long time. Somebody starts work in their 20s, they retire, as we discussed last night, in their 60s and even in their late 60s. We have to find a way of investing that money safely so that we build up the structures, infrastructures and growth potential of the country we live in. Contributing to social security, investing in pensions in the future. This is the key to having the kind of country that Larkin and Connolly thought about when they moved and seconded or spoke on the resolution to found our party 100 years ago. And what do they want? They want what we want now. They want a decency, a fair life, an opportunity, the ability to work, and most of all, to build a home, to build a family, to build a community. That's what we're about, and that's why we honour their legacy.